The Three Queens. In the realm of fairy tales, where beauty often reigns supreme, lies a cautionary tale of obsession, envy, and the devastating consequences that follow. This is the story of a king, blessed with three queens of unparalleled beauty, yet cursed with a desire that would lead to ruin. He sought not just beauty, but the most beautiful, a distinction that would unravel his kingdom and his heart. Our story begins with this king, a man of immense wealth and power, yet burdened by a singular, consuming desire. He possessed three queens, each a vision of loveliness, their beauty so equal it confounded all who beheld them. But for the king, equality was not enough. He craved a superlative, a queen who outshone all others. His obsession was simple: to determine which of his three queens was the fairest of them all. This seemingly harmless pursuit would soon darken into a tragic quest, fueled by vanity and a relentless need for validation. The king's desire would set in motion a chain of events that would leave his palace empty and his heart desolate. The king, surrounded by such exquisite beauty, found himself unable to appreciate the harmony of their shared loveliness. He saw only a puzzle, a challenge to be solved. Which queen was superior? This question consumed his thoughts, poisoning his joy and blinding him to the true treasures he possessed. He first turned to his concubines, hoping their discerning eyes might offer a solution. But they too were captivated by the queen's equal radiance, unable to declare one more beautiful than the others. Their opinions only deepened the king's frustration, fueling his relentless pursuit. Next, he consulted his courtiers, men and women of refined taste and worldly experience. Yet they too were struck by the queen's perfect symmetry of beauty. Each queen possessed a unique charm, but none could be definitively crowned as the most beautiful. Growing desperate, the king sought counsel from his prime minister, a man known for his wisdom and level-headedness. The prime minister, witnessing the king's growing obsession, advised him to abandon this fruitless quest. He warned of the dangers of vanity and the futility of seeking an impossible perfection. But the king, consumed by his desire, dismissed the prime minister's wise counsel. His obsession had taken root, twisting his judgment and fueling his anger. He demanded a definitive answer, a declaration of the most beautiful queen, and he demanded it within 3 days. Faced with the king's unwavering demand, the prime minister knew he had to act, even if it meant resorting to deception. He suggested consulting a renowned fortune teller, a woman rumored to possess mystical insights. Perhaps, he reasoned, she could provide the answer the king so desperately sought. The fortune teller, upon hearing the king's request, appeared troubled. She asked for a postponement, claiming she needed time to look up the dictionary to properly assess the queen's beauty. Her strange request raised the prime minister's suspicions. The prime minister, a keen observer of human nature, recognized the fortune teller's predicament. She was not consulting mystical texts, but rather stalling for time, unsure how to answer the king's impossible question. He saw an opportunity to manipulate the situation to his advantage. He devised a deceptive plan, forged letters, each summoning one of the queens to a secret appointment with the fortune teller. The letters were carefully worded, promising a revelation about their beauty and the king's favor. The prime minister would then observe which queen the fortune teller chose to attend. The king, blinded by his obsession, readily approved the prime minister's plan. He saw it as a means to finally resolve his burning question. The forged letters were dispatched, and the stage was set for a tragic game of manipulation and deceit. The fortune teller, unaware of the prime minister's scheme, received the 3 letters. Faced with an impossible choice, she ultimately decided to attend the appointment with one of the queens, swayed by the promise of royal favor. Her decision, however, would seal her fate. The king, upon learning which queen the fortune teller had chosen, declared her the most beautiful. He saw this as definitive proof, validating his obsession and fueling his vanity. But his triumph was short-lived, built on a foundation of deceit and manipulation. His first act was one of cruel injustice. He ordered the beheading of the fortune teller, deeming her knowledge too dangerous, her silence more valuable than her life. This act of tyranny marked the beginning of the kingdom's descent into darkness. With the fortune teller silenced, the king openly favored the chosen queen, showering her with gifts and attention. He reveled in her perceived superiority, oblivious to the simmering resentment brewing in the hearts of the other two queens. His folly had set the stage for tragedy. The two remaining queens, once equal in the king's eyes, now burned with jealousy and resentment. They saw their status diminished, their beauty devalued, their envy festered, poisoning their hearts and driving them towards a deadly conspiracy. Consumed by envy, the two queens plotted to eliminate their favored rival. They concocted a deadly poison, intending to end her life and reclaim their position in the king's affections. Their once harmonious court had become a breeding ground for treachery and malice. Their plot, however, was discovered. The king, enraged by their treachery, reacted with swift and brutal justice. He ordered the execution of the two envious queens, their lives forfeit for their deadly conspiracy. His palace, once filled with beauty, was now stained with blood. In the end, all three queens met a tragic demise, victims of the king's obsession and their own destructive emotions. Their beauty, once a source of joy and admiration, had become a curse, leading them to their untimely deaths. The king's quest for the most beautiful had left him with nothing. The king, now alone in his vast palace, was surrounded by emptiness. The vibrant presence of his queens was gone, replaced by silence and desolation. His victory was hollow, his triumph a cruel illusion. The palace, once a symbol of wealth and beauty, now stood as a monument to the king's folly. The gardens, once filled with laughter and music, were now silent and overgrown. The king's obsession had transformed his kingdom into a wasteland. Despite his riches and power, the king found no happiness. The pursuit of superficial beauty had cost him everything he truly valued: love, companionship, and peace of mind. He was left with nothing but regret and the haunting memory of his lost queens. This tale serves as a stark reminder of the destructive nature of obsession, particularly when focused on superficial beauty. The king's relentless pursuit of an impossible ideal led to the downfall of his queens and the ruin of his kingdom. His story is a cautionary one, warning against the dangers of vanity. The story also highlights the perils of vanity and the futility of seeking unattainable perfection. The king's inability to appreciate the equal beauty of his queens underscores the importance of recognizing and valuing the unique qualities in others. True beauty lies not in comparison, but in appreciation. Furthermore, the tale emphasizes the importance of cherishing love and companionship. The king's obsession blinded him to the true treasures he possessed in his queens. He sacrificed genuine connection for a fleeting and ultimately meaningless distinction. Finally, the story serves as a cautionary reminder of the consequences of envy and unchecked desires. The two queens' jealousy led them to commit a heinous act, resulting in their own destruction. Their fate underscores the importance of controlling one's emotions and resisting the temptation of destructive impulses.